And next up, we have a proclamation to designate May 2024 as Lyme Disease Awareness Month. And if the folks who are here can come on down, I believe we have Monty Skull, Executive Director of the NatCapLyme and Tick-Borne Disease Association, and folks who are with her joining her. And while you're making your way down, I would recognize Supervisor Harity.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a proclamation to approve. Whereas May marks the start of tick season in Northern Virginia, and Lyme disease is the fastest spreading vector-borne disease in the United States. And whereas Lyme and other tick-borne diseases can be difficult to diagnose and can take many forms from muscle pain to arthritis to heart disease and Bell's palsy, and can cause flu-like symptoms as well as chronic fatigue. And whereas each year approximately 476,000 cases of Lyme disease are reported by the CDC, with several hundred cases reported in Virginia in the last few years, and many cases going unreported. And whereas the NatCapLyme and Tick-Borne Disease Association is among the organizations working to increase awareness and education about the threat, and thanks to the association's efforts through the Virginia legislature, a working group of state agencies and partners have developed recommendations to help further expand awareness and prevention efforts. And whereas individuals can protect themselves by wearing EPA-registered repellents such as DEET, performing tick checks and after outdoor activities, and promptly removing attached ticks when properly diagnosing potential cases of Lyme disease. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors, on behalf of all residents of Fairfax County, does hereby proclaim May 2024 as Lyme Disease Awareness Month in Fairfax County, and urges all residents to take action to protect and prevent against tick-borne illnesses. So moved.
I'm happy to second that motion. Discussion on the motion, Supervisor Harity.
Yeah, I'm happy we're here doing this again today, especially with the rain that we've had over the last month. Has produced a bumper crop of ticks. They like the heat, they like the warmth and the moisture. Lyme is a debilitating disease that's become more prevalent in Virginia, especially Northern Virginia, where more and more people I meet have been personally infected by either the disease themselves or by family members. It's especially important that we educate our kids, because kids make up 30% of the cases. In some cases, tick-borne diseases can be lifetime diseases. NatCapLyme has developed great material to help educate our students, and led the way for tick prevention education to be included in curriculums throughout the state. They recently contributed to a working group that submitted its findings to Governor Youngkin and the Virginia Department of Health, with recommendations at the K-12 level and just for education overall. And I really want to thank NatCapLyme and all of you for all the work you do. It's important that we get the word out about this. I know the county does a great education series for the folks that we have that go out and work in the woods. I've already found one tick on me so far this year, and was walking through South Run Park, came back to the office, and there it was. So they're out there. We need to be especially vigilant and encourage everybody to perform tick checks and make sure they're aware of Lyme disease. And again, thank you, Monty and NatCapLyme, for all you do.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Let me also thank you for all your work, and as Supervisor Harity mentioned, also our health department. Just as we had a presentation earlier with Fire and Rescue and American Red Cross, it's these partnerships with government, our nonprofit agencies, that really help move the needle on these things. And so certainly I want to thank NatCapLyme, and I'm looking at the brochure that you have here, and one of the things that is a challenge is when you look at the frequently reported symptoms sections. Those are frequently reported symptoms for a lot of things, and so this is why it's important to clearly check yourself when you come in from outdoors and look for ticks, because these symptoms may be a lot of people look at this list of symptoms and think it's allergies or something else that's in the air, but these are very common symptoms. And As Supervisor Harity mentioned, this is ever more prevalent. I can remember a time where it was rare that you would meet somebody who had Lyme disease, and now it's rare if you don't know someone who has Lyme disease and because of a tick bite. And so this is a very serious health issue, and really appreciate all the work that's being done on educating people, and particularly our youth, but everyone in Fairfax County has a role to play. With that, I think we're ready for a vote. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries. And Monty, welcome back.
So thank you. I said I wouldn't be here, I think, last year, and I'm back. But I've got my colleagues with me, and they're starting to take over a little bit, so that's good. Before I start, I want to ask Supervisor Harity, when he took that tick off, what did he do with it?
Yeah, what did you do with that, Supervisor Harity?
I don't know what I was supposed to do with it, but I flushed it.
Oh, you did flush it. Well, we have worked since oh my gosh, I'm going back to the 90s, 1990, about don't flush that tick down the toilet, but put it in a plastic baggie and
This is why we
save
educate.
And the reason why, you can learn so much from that tick. And that tick is tested with DNA. It's the tick's DNA. And it's a lot different than when they test a human's blood and they're testing an antibody or an immune response. So save your ticks, folks. Don't flush them. Don't burn them, and don't smother them.
So, Monty, Supervisor Smith said she just took one off her dog and put it in a Ziploc bag. Is that the correct thing to do?
Yes. And if you go to our website, you'll see the labs where you can get the ticks tested, okay? There's about 6 of them up there. So before I begin, I want to say how grateful I am to be back here this year, and I have my colleagues with me. And I would like to say that all of my colleagues that came this morning are Lyme patients, or have somebody in their family that is a Lyme patient. And so they're very well versed in knowing about tick-borne diseases. And they're here out of the passion that they have to let others know so that they don't have to go through the same problems that we all did. So I've got with me on my right, Laura Granata, who is here on behalf of her son, who you all met last year, an Eagle Scout. I also have Almas Ethakari over here, one of our board members. I have Jake Browden, and I have Melissa Lubin. And they're all going to talk to you this morning and tell you a little bit. We're going to keep it short, though. We won't drag it out. Well, we are so happy to be here once again to tell the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors that proclaiming May 2024 does so much to enlighten our community here about the devastations that ticks can cause if they're not properly if the disease is not properly diagnosed and treatment started in time. So what you all do here with this proclamation today is very, very important. The continued support that you have given this issue over the years, and it's been 13 years, I think, is now more important than ever before. And I'm going to let Laura tell you why.
So this year we're experiencing a steady and alarming increase in CDC reportable cases, not only in Virginia but nationwide. The CDC has called for greater public awareness of tick-borne diseases to foster better prevention and early detection. To illustrate this, right here in our county, George Mason University just received $1.2 million from the U.S. Department of the Army to revolutionize Lyme disease detection and diagnosis with urine testing. So the current standard of care for potential Lyme disease is an antibody test, which measures the immune response to the bacteria that causes the Lyme disease. In contrast, at George Mason, the test detects molecules derived from the bacteria themselves. So the advantage is a higher accuracy and an early detection so that treatment can begin right away. So it's very exciting. I'm going to turn it over now to Alma.
Another tick-borne complication that can arise from a tick bite that we're seeing at truly alarming rates in Virginia is something called alpha-gal syndrome. And that's not a bacteria transmitted, it's actually an allergy to the saliva of the tick. It's commonly known as the red meat allergy, and it can cause a broad spectrum of symptoms ranging from hives or a rash to a life-threatening anaphylactic shock. NatCapLyme has helped pass legislation that makes it mandatory for providers to report all positive alpha-gal tests to the CDC. And for more information on alpha-gal, we've included a brochure for you guys to refer to. And pass it on to you.
As Monty mentioned, for the past 13 years, Supervisor Harity and the Fairfax Board of Supervisors have been a leading partner to the National Capital Lyme Disease Association and the public at large in the effort to bring awareness of Lyme and tick-borne diseases to Fairfax County. This proclamation today is of great benefit to the citizens of Fairfax County. It creates official recognition of the problem, encourages Virginians to learn and take tick-borne diseases seriously, to take aggressive prevention measures, and to seek early treatment. Thank you. We'll bring it back to Monty.
So you can see we're making great strides here in Virginia. Virginia is becoming a model state for other states, and when it comes to Lyme and tick-borne diseases, I want to thank you especially that you recognized, Pat Harity did, 13 years ago, the importance of bringing this knowledge and awareness about tick-borne diseases to our community here in Fairfax. We've worked very hard, as Pat was saying, with the schools, coming up with education programs for children, and it's because of this partnership that I think we have with you and the Fairfax Department of Health and the Virginia Department of Health that we've been able to do so much. So thank you, because partnering is so important, like other groups have said. And Helen Keller said it best when she mentioned that alone we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. So thank you all for helping us. And every Lyme patient in this state appreciates it. And every person that hasn't gotten Lyme disease yet appreciates it. So we work to make sure they don't get sick from the bite of a tick. So thank you all very much.
Thank you all for being here, as you always are, Monty, for a lot of years of being here. I don't know if this will be our last or not after last year, but we always are glad to see you come before the board and advocate. With that, I think we're ready for a photo, and if Supervisor Harity would join me and the board could rise.